Which conspiracy theory is so believable that it might be true? The Phantom Cosmonaut Conspiracy. Pretty much, the short story is that Yuri Gagarin is not the first man to go to space, but the first one to go and come back alive. It just seems like a USSR thing to do. The ballistic missile threat that was sent to Hawaiian cell phones saying, "Seek shelter, this is not a drill," that was later deemed a mistake, was a real missile that was intercepted before impact. That your phone's microphone is constantly hot and is listening for keywords to target advertising. Most glaring instance where this happened to me was when I walked into a colleague's office. He had just gotten a standing desk, but one that goes on top of his existing desk rather than a standalone. Pun, model. That's important to note. I said, "Nice standing desk. When did you get that?" "Thanks, just today," he replied. That was literally all that was said about the desk. We talked about work-related stuff, and as I walked out and checked my phone, there was an ad on Facebook for that exact model of standing desk. I have never owned one, wanted one, or Googled one before, yet there it was on my feed. Tinfoil hat be damned, they listen in. I have long argued to friends and family that Barack Obama may have been a CIA operative sometime in between college and being a community organizer in Chicago. Bear with me. After graduating from Columbia in 1983, Obama went to work for a company called Business International Corporation, a company that is known to have been used as a CIA front in the past. There is little information available about this time in Obama's life. The CIA was actively recruiting at that point in history and would have been very interested in a young black man with an Ivy League education and ties to Indonesia and Africa. The information would most likely still be classified, but it could also have helped his rapid ascension in politics at such a young age. After nursing this theory for a while, I finally Googled it, and sure enough, loads of websites tout similar theories, some of it convincing. Not the stuff about him being a CIA chrononaut who fought Russians on the moon. That angle is less convincing. Dyson purposefully made the cable shorter over time just before announcing the cordless version. My DC-01 has a 12-meter flex, my DC-14 has a 6.5-meter flex. They purposefully made the flex shorter to be an inconvenience and make people want the cordless version. Darth Jar Jar was 100% planned and hinted at in TPM, but the sheer amount of hatred for the character made Lucas back down. I actually wish he went through with the original vision. Memes about the NSA and other spy programs are encouraged by the very agencies spying on us to twist the idea into the absurd and to humanize their agents. Miley Cyrus's crazy streak was all a carefully planned marketing scheme to get her solidified as an A-list celebrity. I believe it was done to make Disney completely cut ties with her and kill the image of Hannah Montana. It's worked, too. Hannah Montana was quite possibly Disney's largest TV show ever, but I haven't seen anyone ever mention it for over 4 years now. And despite Disney cashing in on old IPs, Aladdin, Kim Possible, Lion King, etc., we have yet to even hear an unsubstantiated rumor regarding Hannah Montana. YouTube in a mobile browser is so bad that they can force you to use the app and not use an ad blocker. The Laurel Canyon Conspiracy. Basically, if you look at the counterculture revolutionaries in the music industry in the 60s, most of them were the children of military intelligence people. So the theory is that the free love, lots of drugs movement they inspired was done intentionally to distract the youth from a full-scale revolution. The thought was if the angry youth of the mid to late 60s were too high and getting laid all the time, they would stop caring as much about the societal ills and then basically sleepwalk through the 70s, which they did. I stumbled upon this when I was reading upon Jim Morrison and how his father was the one who called in the fake strike at the Gulf of Tonkin that kicked off the Vietnam War, and which was shown later to have been a false flag. Turns out, a lot of his contemporaries were also children of highly placed military people with ties to intelligence. Strange that they all wound up in Laurel Canyon as part of the same movement. Apple started the meme about AirPods being expensive as a marketing ploy. The recommended food pyramid is created by the FDA, but the FDA is funded by a lot of certain food industries, poultry, dairy, etc. They in turn made the recommended nutrition based off of their funding by these companies, and not based on a well-balanced diet. I don't know about the newer version, but I'm pretty sure this was actually confirmed to be the case with the old version most people learned. That's why grains are on the bottom, below even vegetables. The government experiments on the mentally insane because no one will believe someone with that kind of medical history. The Reddit search function is intentionally bad, or not purposely bad, but they know how to fix it, but refuse to encourage more new posts. The oil and coal industries invested heavily in killing off nuclear power as an attractive alternative. These days, we have reactor designs many times safer than other methods of generating power, and the waste issue is something that could be fixed with sufficient investment. Multiple football World Cups have been influenced by either governments hosting them or other entities out for their own gain. 2002 South Korea, Japan, and 1978 in Argentina are the two most obvious ones that come to mind. I've always found it very plausible that Hitler didn't kill himself in the bunker and instead fled to South America. Let's look at what we know about his death. With Germany on the brink of defeat and Russian forces closing in, Hitler shoots himself in a bunker hours before they arrive. German soldiers then drag the bodies of him, his wife, and his dog into the front yard and burn them beyond recognition. The bodies are positively ID'd by dental records provided by the Nazi Party. Given the fanatical devotion the Nazis have to Hitler, it's extremely possible that they would have been willing to shoot and burn body doubles and alter the dental records of the corpses to match Hitler and his wife. Meanwhile, Hitler would have been evacuated to a country where he could lay low and take on a new identity. My guess would be Argentina, who fostered multiple high-ranking Nazi officials. I'm not saying he couldn't have also just shot himself in the bunker, but the whole thing always felt fishy. There's a conspiracy theory that Flight 93 was shot down by hastily scrambled jet fighters and/or missiles in the interest of public safety, and that the government made up the relatively wholesome "the passengers decided to fight the hijackers and sacrifice themselves" story to keep up morale. I don't know whether it happened or not, but I can entirely believe it might be true. There's an underground PR firm that helps celebrities fake their own death to escape the harshness of the limelight or if they feel like their life is in danger, i.e. Tupac, Biggie, Paul Walker, etc. Michael Jordan's first retirement was actually a suspension by the NBA because of his gambling. There was a dude that invented a car that runs on water. He stated multiple times he would not die from natural causes and that if he dies, to investigate it. A year later, from putting his cars into mass production, he died. Before he died, he said that oil companies have threatened his life. I got this info from my dad a couple months ago, but look the dude up. Search like water car or whatever. The government spreads insane conspiracy theories that conspiracy nutters will latch onto to distract from actual conspiracies, like flooding the conspiracy market to devalue conspiracies. Lotteries are actually traps for time travelers. Stephen Hawking already held a party for time travelers and no one showed up. Starbucks baristas are told to misspell customers' names so that they post photos on social media of their Starbucks cup. Check out how this guy spelt Barry. Bori? LOL, SMH. UFOs are just time travelers from the future just checking us out. They keep their distance so not to disrupt anything and to cause a butterfly effect that may affect them. Lyme disease as we know it today was created by scientists on Plum Island off the Long Island coast in a secret government laboratory devoted to germ warfare. And the government continues to cover up, deny, and avoid confronting how widespread it is. While the disease has been around a long time, many people believe the reason it is so widespread as it is because of these experiments. The CIA was involved in selling crack to low-income black neighborhoods to fund activities they couldn't get approved by Congress. I mean, I'm pretty sure most people believe there was some involvement and it's just a matter of degree. But I think they were nuts deep in directly smuggling and selling crack through intermediaries to black communities with full knowledge of the Justice Department and executive branch. JFK accidentally shot by his own Secret Service agent who turned around when Lee Harvey Oswald fired. Doesn't exonerate Oswald, explains why there was a cover-up, and fits the ballistic report way better. The reason that Prince Philip crashed his car last month was so that when you Googled Prince Philip car crash, it would return results from the event of 2019 rather than how he arranged the death of Princess Diana from behind the wheel of the never-traced white Fiat Uno. The reason Disney came out with a movie called Frozen was so that when you Googled Disney Frozen, you would get information about the movie and not websites talking about Walt Disney's body being frozen. Kurt Cobain didn't kill himself. I've always been an anti-conspiracy theorist, but this legitimately haunts me. The case was opened and closed on the same effing day. Even if you have stone-cold evidence, that does not happen anywhere, especially a celebrity of this caliber. Seattle PD had a long-running reputation of corruption. According to his autopsy, Kurt had 3 times the lethal dose of heroin in his system. Not only would it have been impossible for him to be conscious, but to also be able to neatly put away his heroin kit and have the strength to pick up the shotgun and pull the trigger? Impossible. The trajectory of the shotgun shell and where it landed in the room would have been impossible had he shot himself. The shell landed as if the gun was pointed downward at him. These are just a few of the very suspicious things that occurred around this. Please watch the documentary Soaked in Bleach. It uses real audio recordings from the PI that Courtney Love hired to essentially spy on Kurt a few weeks before his death. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel. Press the like button and write in the comments what conspiracy theories you know.